Hi and welcome to another episode of Cafe Chronicles. I'm Steve.
I'm Dan.
And today we're going to be taking a little tackle at stitching up the seat, the custom seat for the budget cafe racer build. So we're going to start by marking out our leather, and then we're going to get it on there onto the stitching foam and try and stitch it up. So let's get stuck in.
So we've made the joke a couple of times about not wanting to spend money twice, and that's exactly what we have gone and done. So I thought I was going to be smarter than everyone else that makes seats, and I sort of reverse engineered what foam they were using and thought I found an equivalent on McMaster Car, and it led us to this, which is fantastic to stand on, but it wasn't working for what we were trying to do. And the other thing is, because it's the same material, it's just the foam, you would have to have some sort of material on the back that would pull the leather into it. Otherwise the threads just sort of punch straight through. So what the actual product is that everyone else uses is fabric backed sewing foam, and it is actually called sewing foam because there is a foam made specifically to sew against, if you believe it. I thought that I was going to be smarter than everyone else, and reading comprehension aside, we now have sewing foam.
While Dan preps this sewing machine, we'll call it the mowing machine. So here's the foam, sewing foam you called it, Dan?
Yeah.
What Dan was talking about. And then here's the leather. And Dan's cut off a little bit of a test strip, and the idea is we're going to run a few layers on it and see how it looks. This is how it turned out. It's not bad. The quilting that Dan wanted, it's not quite as good as we'd like it to be. It's not as high as we'd like it to be.
It could just be Dan's sewing technique.
Because you see the back here obviously is really pronounced. But the thing is, we have quite a high quality leather. It's quite a thick leather. And I think it's like just a little bit too thick to actually allow the stitching to pull it tight, and it doesn't create the emboss that we want.
This was supposed to be the seat. This is our 5-ounce whole grain leather. So we tried sewing this with our thread, with our sew foam and everything else to get the quilting pattern. Now Steve's doing a close-up right now of the miserable threads. We are actually getting the effect that we're looking for, but the problem is when you look close up at the stitches, here's a really good example. We can't get the tension correct in the sewing machine. The sewing machine isn't designed for this kind of material, so it's having this weird issue with, I don't know if it's the flywheel or the power, but we're having a very inconsistent sew pattern as we go through. So if I just wipe away the chop that we have over here, so you can see what we're ending up with, this is what our seat would look like. Which again, from a distance, the quilting pattern is actually quite desirable, but the threading is not the quality that we're looking for on our build.
It's inconsistent. The gapping here is just totally different. The reason for it is just the leather is so thick. When we do the leather on its own, it works fine. When we do the quilting on its own, it works fine. When we ask the sewing machine to go through the leather and the quilting and pull it, it does it, but it just cannot maintain any kind of quality or anything, and it gets stuck and all sorts of crap. So we drank a lot.
We drank about it.
Yeah, we drank a lot. This is the first time that we've had the psychological fortitude to actually, you know, have a go at this again. So Dan's after getting some nice material. It's so much lighter than the other stuff.
Yeah, it's about, I want to say 5 times lighter, but that's not true. It's about half, a little bit more than half. The math doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah.
So you can see the visual difference. If I take this here, if I hold up the old material versus the new, how incredibly thin it is comparatively, which makes a huge difference to the sewing machine. So hopefully we should be able to punch through this and get the effect that we need without this kind of drama. We'll need to take better care of our seat. We'll need to take more precautions. I'll need to make sure that I don't have any rivets on the jeans that I wear when I get on this, to make sure that I'm not damaging this material, because it is a lot more delicate, but that's the price that we pay for not having an industrial style sewing machine.
And if like funds were limitless, I think we would go, you know, back and forth until we found a weight that we're like, oh, this is perfect. It's like thick enough. It's like the Goldilocks zone. It's thin enough, but it's not thick enough. But like we could buy like 5 more of these until we find that. So moral of the story is we're going to use this. We're going to see what it's like.
We're your guinea pigs, but if there wasn't drama, you wouldn't watch.
You guys just watch for the drama.
Don't do a close-up of my face. They don't deserve that.
Well, I'm not going to do it at mine. They're like, back to Dan, back to Dan. Dan's going to make assless chaps out of this later, so he's folding it. This is what Dan and I are going to wear when we're on the bikes.
Yep.
So assless chaps.
Yep.
You guys can pick the outfit that we're going to wear that Dan's going to wear on the first ride.
You can pick the outfit that I wear around the assless chaps. The only stipulation, can't cover the cheeks.
Not where I saw that going. Did you ever see that movie, A Beautiful Mind? If we had like just a piece of glass and a Sharpie right now, Dan would be like putting out math. You could only imagine. Beautiful, beautiful math.
All math is imaginary.
It's not the most manly sewing machine we could find. It's the freest sewing machine we could find. It's my wife's. She's going to see this on here and she's going to murder me. But it's too late. It's done. She can't stop me now. We're home free. Thing of beauty and awe.
So here's how it turned out. We are so sorry. We stitched everything up. We had it all attached to the seat, but you wouldn't believe it. The camera ran out of battery and we didn't notice. So we're missing all of that footage, but here's what we end up with. I'm kidding. We had the hardest time, as you saw, getting a proper stitch into the leather. So we thought that we would take the seat to a professional upholsterer just to get the seat covered. They had pointed out that the leather that we were using was a little too heavy. So that 4 to 5 ounce leather that we got, it would be great to make some saddlebags out of, maybe a belt.
An armored car.
An armored car. But in terms of a seat, it needs to be a little bit thinner than that 4 to 5 ounce range. The other thing was the foam that we were using. And it could have just been an upsell. Maybe they just wanted to take my money. But they were telling me that the foam that we had chosen wasn't suitable to the application.
I liked it. Personally, we were kind of talking about it. I think it was comfier than the foam in this.
Yeah.
I think there's less. I think this foam is harder and less.
Yeah, this foam is harder and less giving. Their concern was that the foam wouldn't bounce back. So as you compress it, it compresses and then it just stays dead. I never really had that issue with it. Like, it isn't closed cell foam, it's still a foam.
Yeah.
Foam, it's not just an aerated material.
Yeah.
However, I did leave it to the professionals. We did use a new foam for the seat.
They did a really nice job.
They did a fantastic job.
And they used the thread that Dan had selected and everything. And I think the color looks so good with the Psychopomp logo. And with the accents. You know, the calipers and stuff.
Absolutely. I really love that golden blue.
It's so nice. So it turned out so well, and they used the shaping that we had already sculpted, that Dan and Tello had already sculpted with the angle grinder. So, you know, I think the lines that it keeps are perfect. You know. So all in all, good.
It's starting to look like a bike.
It is. You know, if we're not careful, you're going to ride this thing. Dan's going to ride it off the Springfield Gorge. First ride on it. So that's it. We're done with the seat. We're done with that seat. We've done some really nice things with that. The custom seat pan, the fiberglass stuff. That was really nice to actually learn how to do that and figure it out. That worked out really well. And even just getting the shape of our seat, you know, I think again we would use probably an easier foam to shape or sculpt. I see some people use that foam that they use for potting plants and stuff, fake plants into, where you can almost just break it off with your hands. I think that could be a nice touch to use that in the future, but I'll show it to you. If you don't know, Dan's like, I've never had to pot fake plants.
You know that stuff that breaks off when you touch it? That'll make a great seat material.
Yeah, just for sculpting.
Oh, for sculpting.
Yeah, for sculpting. So, but, you know, I think we did a good job sculpting it. We learned our lesson about, you know, our sewing machine. I think we should definitely try that again. Maybe invest in a new sewing machine, a more manly sewing machine. But, yeah, I think it would be fun to kind of get that sorted. But for now, we're really happy with how we had the seat upholstered and everything. So it's looking great. And we would have never been able to get to that finish. So, no. It was a little bit more expensive than kind of what we had planned, but I think,
yeah. Moral of the story, we did have to do a custom seat in order to get the look that we wanted on the Kawasaki, but if you're doing a budget build of your own, maybe plan to build the bike around the off-the-shelf seat that you purchase online.
Yeah, good call. I don't think we would have been able to do that without doing a serious structure changes to the Cowie.
Yeah, but that was not in the cards.
So, but it was good. I think it looks pretty cool.
I think it looks amazing.
And we're really happy with it. Also, we're finished the seat.
We are finished the seat.
Things are moving on. Bike's looking like a bike. We're really excited to get out and get this thing running. So that's going to be the next thing, getting it wired up, getting it running, and seeing how she sounds. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.